The hooded regular slid the purple pudding cup back across the counter. Her hand was steady. Yuma froze. In 8 months, she had never once handed it back. He had memorized her routine down to the second. Folded neatly beneath the cup was a small white note. Her handwriting was careful, deliberate. "It's not for me. It's for you."
Who are you? Why now? It didn't make any sense.
She didn't wait for an answer. Without lifting her eyes, she turned sharply and strode toward the automatic door. He opened his mouth to call out, but the door was already sliding shut. The bell chimed again. Yuma stood paralyzed behind the register, the purple pudding cup alone on the counter.
246 nights. The same pudding, the same exact change. And now this.
He stared at the note. The words seared into his mind. "It's not for me. It's for you." His hand trembled. 8 months ago, Yuma started the graveyard shift. By his third night, the hooded figure appeared at exactly 2 a.m. Every single night after that, the same customer in the oversized black hoodie. Never late, never early. Always at 2. Without glancing at anything else, she walked straight to the pudding shelf. 1 purple cup every time. She placed exact change on the counter. No wallet, just coins counted perfectly. She never waited for a receipt.
After the first month, I started keeping count. It was always 1. Just 1. So I marked it in my head. 246 nights. I could map her footsteps by memory. The whisper of her sneakers on the floor.
Not a word exchanged. Not a single glance upward. The hood hid everything but pale skin and a hint of mint green hair.
Sometimes I wanted to ask, but her silence was a wall. I just rang it up and let her disappear.
Tonight shattered the pattern. The pudding came back. The note spoke, and Yuma was left clutching the silence she left behind.
I have to know. Who are you? What does this mean? I can't just let it go.
Yuma turned the sealed pudding cup over in his hands. For the first time, he actually read the label.
Yume Mochi. The name stirred something deep, a ghost of familiarity he couldn't place.
He pulled out his phone. The bright screen cut through the store's dead air. His fingers typed the brand into the search bar. He pressed enter before he could hesitate. A small bakery website loaded. Handcrafted desserts. A photo of the exact same purple pudding.
I've never seen this bakery before, but that name, it scratches at something in my memory.
He tapped the link. The address was across town. The bakery shared the pudding's name.
I'll go there. As soon as my shift ends, I have to know.
He memorized the address and locked the phone. The folded note rustled in his pocket.
Tomorrow I'll finally open that silence, and I will understand what this note means.
The night dragged. Between customers, Yuma scrolled through the bakery's website, chasing every detail. An About Us page loaded. The text began with a tribute to the bakery's founder, a woman who had passed away years ago. The article ran on a local news archive. Yume Mochi, a small bakery keeps a promise, the headline whispered.
Keeps a promise. Those words pressed against my chest like the note in my pocket.
He skimmed the article. The founder's recipe, her sudden illness, the apprentice who refused to let the bakery fade.
I never knew my mother ran a bakery like this. This can't be connected, it's just a name.
A photo of the bakery front on the website, warm wood, a small awning. It looked like a place from an old dream.
Tomorrow morning, I'll stand right there, and I'll ask.
He saved the address again, though he had already memorized it. The note crinkled as he shifted, a constant reminder.
I'll get my answers. Even if it's nothing, I have to close this loop.
At 5 in the morning, Yuma clocked out. The store's empty hum followed him to the back room. He tucked the note into his jacket pocket and carried the unopened pudding cup home. His small apartment swallowed him. The pudding sat on the nightstand like a question mark.
I tried to sleep, but every time I closed my eyes, I saw her hand sliding that cup back. 246 nights of silence, and now this note won't stop repeating in my head.
He rolled over, pulled the note from the drawer, and read it again. The words didn't change. The first gray light of dawn crept through the blinds. He hadn't slept at all.
Enough waiting. I'm not going to let this mystery swallow another day.
He dressed quickly, the bakery address memorized, the note folded and tucked into his pocket like a promise he intended to keep.
Today, I'll finally find out who you are, and why you chose me.
The early morning bus rattled across town, nearly empty.
I haven't been to this side of the city in years. Not since I was a kid.
Without warning, a memory surfaced, the warm aroma of vanilla and steamed yams, his mother's apron dusted with flour.
She always hummed when she baked. A tune I've been trying to forget. I pushed those memories down so hard. But today, they're crawling back.
The bus jerked to a stop. Yuma stepped off onto a quiet street lined with old shops. The bakery was just ahead. A small wooden sign read, Yume Mochi. The front window glowed softly with the morning light. He stopped 10 steps away.
Why am I hesitating? This is just a bakery. It could be nothing.
But his feet wouldn't move. The name, the feeling, the scent that drifted from the exhaust fan, it all pulled at a part of him he'd sealed off.
Get it together. Walk in there. One question. That's all it takes.
He pushed the door open. A brass bell chimed above him. Warm air wrapped around his shoulders. The scent hit him at once. Baked vanilla, sweet yam, and the faintest trace of caramelized sugar.
This scent is exactly the same. Exactly the same as her kitchen. I can't be mistaken.
A glass display case ran along the counter. Rows of the same purple pudding cups lined the center shelf. Behind the counter, a woman with mint green chin-length hair and a flour-dusted apron lifted her gaze from a mixing bowl.
That's not her. The woman from the store never looked up. She never smiled. This is someone else.
Welcome to Yume Mochi. Is there a particular treat you're looking for today?
Just ask. Ask about the pudding. Who makes it? Who buys it every single night?
He stepped up to the polished wood counter. The folded note pressed against his chest through his jacket.
Start with the pudding. Don't show the note. Not yet. Keep it simple. That purple pudding, what's in it? I've never seen anything quite like it.
Our specialty. Purple yam, steamed and blended. A family recipe from the bakery's very first day.
A family recipe? Sounds like it has some history behind it.
My mentor taught me. She was very particular about the texture.
Mentor. The article said an apprentice kept the bakery running. Is she the same woman?
I could talk about this all day. Would you like to try a sample?
Maybe later. Actually, does it sell a lot? Do you have regulars who come every night?
A few very loyal customers. Some I could set my clock by.
Regulars. At exactly 2 a.m. Could it be connected? No, it's too big a coincidence. Or is it? I need more. The note is still burning a hole in my pocket. Your mentor? You speak about her like she was more than a teacher.
She was family to me. I met her when I was barely a teenager, and she taught me everything. When she got sick, it was fast. I couldn't stop it, but I could keep this bakery alive.
Sick. Just like the article said. This woman, could she be the apprentice? Or is this something more? So you run this place alone now? It must be heavy work.
It is, but I have my ways of keeping her close. Her photo is right over there.
Yuma followed her gesture. On a small shelf, a framed photo sat among dried flowers.
That silhouette, the way she stands. I've seen it before, but from where?
What was her name?
Her name was Sato Yumi.
The name struck Yuma like a physical blow. His mother's maiden name. The world tilted and froze.
She was my mother. Sato Yumi was my mother.
Kaide's hand went slack. A metal spoon clattered to the floor, the sound sharp in the silence.
Then, you're Yuma? She spoke of you. You're really here.
His gaze snapped to the framed photo. The older woman's face, his mother's gentle smile, frozen in time.
She kept her photo here. She kept the bakery. She knew her all along.
I never thought I'd be able to meet you. Not like this.
This bakery is hers. The pudding is hers. It was always her recipe.
They stood frozen across the counter, the name hanging between them, a shared tether to a woman they both loved.
I was 15. She caught me trying to steal a bread roll. She didn't punish me. She put an apron on me and taught me her first recipe. I worked here every day after school. She was more patient than anyone I'd ever met.
Why did you stay after? You could have closed it down and moved on.
I couldn't. Not while I still remembered her voice, her smile.
She kept it alive. All this time, my mother's dream never died because of her. Did you ever try to find me?
I tried, but you vanished. Until I saw your name on a job listing, recently.
A job listing? So she knew I was at the store. But she never said a word. Why?
The unspoken question pressed against his ribs. He would have to be direct.
I work night shifts. Every night, a hooded customer buys this pudding. 1 cup. Exact change. 246 times.
Kaide's composure cracked. Her fingers dug into the wood of the counter.
That's a coincidence. We have many regulars who buy that flavor.
She has mint green hair. She never looks up. And last night, she slid it back with a note.
The silence that followed was thick enough to cut. Kaide's hand trembled against the counter.
It was you. Why? Why every single night? What was the point of the silence?
Please, I never meant to. I didn't know how to.
She couldn't finish. A tear slipped down her cheek. She knew she'd been caught.
Yes, it was me. I'm the one who came every night.
The confession hung in the air, raw and unadorned. Yuma's heart pounded, waiting for a reason. He reached into his jacket and pulled out the folded note, holding it between them like a fragile accusation.
It says, "It's not for me, it's for you." Did you put this there?
Her lips parted, but only a choked breath came out. A single nod.
I wrote it. I'm sorry. I couldn't just stay silent anymore.
Why? Why go through all of this? The pudding, the silence for 8 months. What was it for?
I made a promise. A long time ago. It's not something I can explain easily.
A promise. Like the one the article headline mentioned. What kind of promise lasts 8 months?
She gripped the counter, tears streaming. The words seemed to lodge in her throat, refusing to surface.
Please, give me a moment. It's too much. I never thought I'd have to say it out loud.
Yuma lowered the note, the weight of her grief pressing against his own confusion. The reason was still out of reach.
What promise? To who? You owe me more than tears right now.
Please? Just a moment. I can't. Not when it hurts this much.
I've waited 8 months in silence. I deserve to know what this was all about.
She took a shuddering breath. The words crawled up her throat, jagged and sharp.
At her funeral, I promised Yumi. I swore I would.
But her voice shattered. She covered her mouth, unable to push out the rest.
A promise at her funeral. What could she possibly have sworn to do? For 8 months?
Kaide's sobs echoed in the small bakery. The weight of an unspoken vow pressed down on them both. Yuma's hand tightened on the note. The edge of understanding was just out of reach. She needed to speak, but the grief of years wouldn't let her. Not yet. Kaede pressed her palm flat against the counter, forcing her breathing to slow. Then she spoke.
At her funeral, I promised I would feed you one of her puddings every day if I ever found you.
The memory flickered. A rainy graveyard. A young Kaede standing beside a small boy clutching a photograph.
I looked for you for 2 years. Then I saw your name on the store's job listing. The first night I saw you, I was so scared you'd reject me that you'd hate the reminder.
8 months she came. Every night, the exact change, the silent ritual, a promise kept in the shadows.
All those nights, every single pudding, it was never for her. She was feeding me my own mother's love.
The note's words reshaped themselves in his mind. It's not for me, it's for you, a message from beyond. Yuma stood paralyzed, the weight of 246 nights crashing down like a wave he couldn't outrun. The truth was vast, and he had no idea where to put it. The silence in the bakery was absolute. Yuma's voice cut through the heavy silence, roughened by the weight of revelation.
Why didn't you just talk to me? Why all the hiding, all the secrecy?
Kaede flinched as if struck. Fresh tears carved paths down her pale cheeks.
I was terrified. Every time I saw your face, I thought you'd tell me to go away, that I had no right. I'm a stranger who knew your mother better than you did. I thought you'd resent me for that.
Resent her? She was the only constant in those empty nights. Why would I hate her for keeping my mother close?
The question stalled his anger. For a flicker, he saw not a stranger, but a keeper of his mother's heart.
But last night, you looked so exhausted. I couldn't stand it. I needed you to know you weren't alone.
Her trembling hand extended, hovering just above his knuckles on the counter, not daring to touch. Yuma stared at the space between them, a battlefield of hurt and unexpected gratitude.
How did you find me? After all these years, how did you track me down?
I never stopped looking. I searched online records, social media, anything, but you disappeared. One afternoon, I typed your name into a simple job board, and it came back. A 24-hour store hiring night staff.
A grainy photo attached to the listing, a young man in a store polo. She knew instantly.
I went to the store that same night. I just wanted to see you from a distance, but I couldn't leave after that.
The first night, she stood in the shadow of the store awning. She watched him ring up a late customer, and her promise woke inside her.
I told myself, just one pudding, one night. But then it became 246, and I still couldn't speak to you.
Yuma absorbed the image, a quiet woman, bound by a promise, counting out exact change while her heart hammered with every unspoken word. The scale of her dedication was staggering. He had been angry at silence, but the silence had been full of love. But gratitude was tangled with a deeper ache, the years he'd lost, the mother he'd never truly known.
Last night, why did you finally break the silence? What actually changed?
She pictured the moment she had stood outside the store window the previous night, watching him through the glass.
You looked so hollow, like you'd been holding up the night all by yourself for too long. I realized the puddings weren't enough. You needed to know someone was thinking of you, not just a routine.
Her words stripped the last mystery bare. The note wasn't just closure for her, it was an offering.
She saw me. Not the clerk, not the night shift. Me. The person I thought was invisible.
I was terrified you'd throw it away, but even if you did, I had to try.
The exhaustion she had noticed still hung in his bones, but now it mixed with something unfamiliar, being truly seen.
I almost didn't open it, the note. I almost threw it away.
But you didn't. You're here.
What do you remember most about her? I was so young when she passed. Sometimes I can't even recall her voice.
Her laugh, it was like warm bread, and she would hum a little tune while measuring flour, always the same melody.
Kaede's eyes grew distant, lost in the memory. Then, with a determined breath, she turned and reached under the counter. She pulled out an old, flour-dusted notebook, its pages yellowed and worn at the edges. The cover was stained with vanilla.
This is hers, your mother's original recipes. Every pudding you've ever eaten started from these pages.
Yuma's hand trembled as he reached for the book. His mother's handwriting, the familiar loops he hadn't seen in over a decade.
That's her writing. I remember those curves on birthday cards she sent me every year.
He touched the page where a faint smudge of flour still clung to the ink. It smelled faintly of vanilla and nostalgia. For a long moment, he just held it, unable to speak, the weight of a lifetime pressing between his fingers.
Take it, Yuma. It's yours.
Yuma stared at the yellowed pages, his breath shallow, a tremor running through his chest.
Your mother would want you to have it. It's her legacy and yours.
If I take this, I can't pretend I don't remember her. I can't keep the wall up. But the wall is all I have.
His hand extended, fingers hovering over the stained cover. A lifetime of unspoken grief pulsed in that inch of air. He stopped an inch from the cover, knuckles white, a shudder running the length of his arm.
Please, don't be scared. She loved you more than anything in this world.
I'm not ready. I can't. Not yet.
He withdrew his hand as if the pages might burn him. The book remained on the counter, open and waiting, a silent invitation. He turned his gaze to the framed photograph on the wall, her gentle smile unchanged, and the silence felt like an answer.
I need time. I can't process all of this right now. I'll come back, but not yet.
Take all the time you need. I'll be here. The bakery will be here.
He nodded, a small, fragile gesture. His hand slipped into his pocket where the note still waited. The door chimed as he stepped outside, the morning street quiet. The weight of the unopened pudding remained in his bag. Kaede stood motionless behind the counter, her fingers still resting on the open recipe book. She watched through the glass as his figure grew smaller, a silhouette against the rising sun. A tear traced down her cheek, but a faint, hopeful smile broke through. He hadn't run away completely. She closed the book and held it against her chest, as if it were a promise instead of paper.
I'll come back. I will. I just need to figure out what I'm supposed to feel.
That night, the fluorescent lights of the convenience store hummed their familiar monotone. Yuma stood behind the register, still lost in a bakery across town.
I keep looking at the door. At 2 a.m., I expect her to walk in. But she won't come tonight.
Every chime of the automatic door made his pulse jump, a delivery driver, a late-night student, but never the hooded figure he'd memorized.
8 months she came, and I thought the silence was empty. But it was the opposite. It was the only thing I had.
He pulled the note from his pocket again, smoothing the creases with his thumb. The words had entered his bloodstream.
I don't just miss the pudding, I miss her. I want her in my life. Not because she promised, but because she stayed.
The store felt cavernous without the silent ritual. 246 nights had built a home in his chest, and now it stood vacant.
I have to go back. That recipe book, it's not a weight. It's a key. My mother's key. She left it for me.
But he didn't move yet. The fear still had its claws in him, a cold whisper that maybe he didn't deserve this.
Tomorrow, I'll go back tomorrow. I'll take her book and I'll learn. I'll make that pudding myself.
The next morning, Yuma stood before the bakery as the sun crested the rooftops. He pushed open the door without hesitation.
You came back. I hoped you would.
I want to learn. I want to make my mother's pudding. And I want to take that recipe book if the offer still stands.
The offer will always stand. This book was meant to find you.
Yuma took the book in both hands, feeling the weight of flour-stained pages against his palms. This time, he didn't flinch.
Teach me. Start from the beginning. I'll learn every page of her handwriting.
We'll start today. I'll show you how she worked, how she laughed when the flour puffed up.
For the first time, the distance between them felt like a bridge instead of a wall.
This is where I start. Not just learning a recipe, learning who she was.
In the cramped bakery kitchen, Yuma tied an apron with trembling hands. Flour dust hung in the air like a ghost.
First thing she ever taught me, don't be afraid of the mess. Flour means you're trying.
Yuma tipped the flour bag too fast. A white cloud erupted, coating the counter in his uniform.
I can't even measure right. This is impossible.
The mixture turned gray and lumpy, nothing like the silky purple custard he remembered.
Yumi made the same face when her first batch curdled. She'd say, "The pudding knows who wants to learn."
Yuma let out a frustrated sigh, his hands caked in sticky dough. But he didn't walk away.
"Here, let me show you how she held the bowl. She always tilted it just so."
Her hands closed over his, steadying the tremor. The bowl tipped, and the lumpy mixture settled into a slow, promising swirl.
Even her mistakes are a lesson. I won't give up. I'll get this right.
For 7 days, Yuma returned every morning. Each attempt chipped away at the failure. The batter held its shape a little longer.
I know the measurements by heart now. It's like her handwriting is guiding my hands.
You're not fighting the pudding anymore. You're listening to it. That's exactly what Yumi said a good baker does.
On the 8th afternoon, he opened the steamer. The pudding glowed a deep, even purple, its surface glassy and unbroken. Kaede lifted a spoonful. They both held their breath. The first taste spread across their tongues.
It's exactly hers. I can't tell the difference. Yuma, you did it.
I made my mother's pudding. After all these years, she's here.
A sob wrenched free. Yuma pressed his fist to his mouth, but the tears came anyway.
Thank you. For keeping her alive. For teaching me. I'll never forget this taste.
A few weeks later, on his birthday, Yuma arrived at the bakery to find a small cake and a single pudding on the counter.
Happy birthday, Yuma. I have something for you.
She handed him a flat rectangular package, wrapped in simple brown paper and tied with a pale string. He tore the paper away. Under glass, his mother's original handwritten recipe, the flour smudge still visible.
Her handwriting. The same loops from my birthday cards. Now it'll never fade.
For a long moment, he couldn't speak. The frame trembled slightly in his hands.
Your mother would want you to have the original. It's time you took the reins.
Her reins. She's giving me the key to everything she protected.
He traced the glass over her signature, the past pressing into the present.
I'll earn this. I promise I'll become the baker she'd be proud of.
The next day, Yuma handed in his resignation. The convenience store manager shrugged, but the fluorescent lights felt different now. He walked out into the morning, the automatic door sliding shut behind him for the last time. No more counting 2 a.m.s. An hour later, he pushed open the bakery door. The bell chimed, and Kade looked up from arranging pastries, her eyes widening.
Yuma? You're early. What happened?
I quit my job, Kaeda. I want to work here full-time, as your apprentice. I want to learn everything.
Kaeda's hands stilled over a tray of bread rolls. For a moment, she just stared, tears brimming.
You're serious? This bakery is hard work. Early mornings, heavy trays, no nights off. Are you sure?
I've never been more sure. This is where I belong with you, with my mother's memory. I'll do whatever it takes.
She handed him a fresh apron with the shop logo. Yuma tied it on, stepping behind the counter not as a customer, but as someone who belonged. The first week at the bakery was a trial by fire. Yuma woke before the sun, his muscles aching from unaccustomed labor. He struggled with the dough hook, nearly dropped a tray of tarts, and poured too much yeast into a batch. But Kade only corrected him with patience.
I'm exhausted, but it's a different kind of tired. Like I'm finally building something that matters.
He watched Kaede handle customers. Her soft smile, the way she remembered their usual orders. It was exactly how his mother used to be.
She has the same gentleness, the same patience. Is this what my mother was like every day?
That afternoon, a bag of flour split open, blanketing them both in white. Kaede burst out laughing, and Yuma couldn't help but join.
See? You're even making the same mistakes she did. It's like she's still here, teaching us both.
As they wiped down the counters, The bakery felt less like a workplace and more like a home he hadn't known he'd lost.
I've never felt this settled. Not in any apartment, not in any job. This bakery is the first place that's ever felt like mine.
But he knew he still had much to learn. The real test, handling the bakery alone, was still ahead, waiting in the quiet of early mornings. Months of early mornings had sculpted Yuma into a confident baker. One autumn morning, Kaede met him at the door with a quiet smile.
You're ready?
She dropped the shop keys into his palm. The metal was cold, but his grip was steady. He unlocked the bakery alone for the first time. The early morning street was silent, waiting. The first customer arrived minutes later, an elderly woman who came every morning for the purple yam pudding.
Good morning. The usual.
His movements were precise now, lifting the pudding from the display, setting it on the counter, the same ritual he had once only watched.
This is for you, just like it was always for me.
The customer paid and left, the bell chiming behind her. Yuma stood alone in the quiet bakery, the weight of the keys heavy in his pocket, but it felt right. That evening, the bakery was quiet. Yuma was wiping down the counter when the door chimed, and Caddis stepped inside.
I saved something for you.
He lifted a single purple pudding cup onto the counter between them. It was still cool, unmoving, perfect.
This is the one you made this morning?
The very first one. It's for you.
Kaede picked up the spoon with trembling fingers. The first taste spread across her tongue, and her eyes filled with tears.
It's her. I can't tell the difference. Yuma, you've brought her back.
He circled the counter and stood beside her, both of them looking at the small pudding as if it held an entire lifetime.
She said she'd feed me until the end of my life. Now I'm the one who can feed her.
Kaede set the spoon down and, for the first time, let the tears fall without wiping them away. The chain was complete. A few days later, Yuma took a bus to the edge of the city where the old cemetery lay. He carried a small bag with a single pudding and the folded note. The grave of Sato Yumi was surrounded by greenery, a light wind stirring the leaves. He had not come here in years.
I used to be afraid of this place. Now it feels like I'm bringing her something she's been waiting for.
He knelt and placed the purple pudding cup in front of the stone, the note tucked beneath it, as Kaede had once done for him. For a long moment, he stared at the familiar name carved into the granite, the scent of vanilla mixing with the early autumn air.
I used to think I'd lost you, but you were never really gone. You were in that pudding, and every night she came.
A gentle breeze stirred the leaves. Yuma closed his eyes and finally let the peace settle inside him. When he opened them, the sun had shifted, and the pudding's purple shone against the gray stone. He felt for the first time that he could move forward. He stood, touched the gravestone lightly, and walked away, leaving the note and the pudding under the wide sky. When Yuma returned to the bakery, the afternoon rush had just ended. Kaede was alone, wrapping a tray of pudding cups.
You were gone a while. Is everything all right?
Everything is better now. I went to see her. I told her about you, about the bakery.
Kaede reached under the counter and pulled out a folded apron. It was crisp white, with the shop's logo embroidered in purple thread.
I've been waiting to give this to you. It belonged to Yumi. She'd want you to wear it.
Yuma ran his fingers over the stitching, a lump forming in his throat. His mother's apron, worn at the edges, but still whole.
I'll wear it every day. I'll keep her alive through every pudding, just like you did.
The door chimed, and a stream of customers entered. The bakery buzzed with laughter and the rustle of paper bags. Yuma tied the apron on and stepped behind the counter. Kaede stood beside him, both facing the warm chaos of the shop.
She'd be proud of this, of both of us. This is exactly where I'm supposed to be.
One rainy evening, as Yuma wiped down the counters, he glanced through the glass. A lone figure stood outside, hood pulled low against the drizzle. The silhouette was still, framed by the warm glow of the bakery. For a moment, Yuma saw himself, the lonely night shift clerk counting the seconds. The scent of vanilla must have pulled them here. Yuma set down his cloth, walked to the door, and pushed it open.
Come in, you're just in time.
The hooded customer hesitated, then crossed the threshold. Water dripped onto the wooden floor as Yuma closed the door behind them. He gestured to the display case, where the purple puddings sat in neat rows. "We just made these tonight," he said softly.
I used to be the one standing outside. Now I'm the one who opens the door. That's how it should be.
The figure lifted a purple cup from the shelf, holding it with the same reverence Kaede once had. Yuma rang it up without a word. The customer paid and left with a quiet thank you. Yuma watched them disappear into the rain, and then he smiled, closing the door gently. The seasons turned, and the bakery's rhythm became as natural as breath. Yuma and Kaede moved around each other with quiet confidence. One winter evening, after the last customer had gone, they sat at a small table with 2 cups of fresh pudding.
Remember when you came every night? I kept counting, waiting for you to break the silence.
I was so scared, but that note was the hardest thing I ever wrote, and the best thing.
Behind them, the framed recipe book hung on the wall, the original note tucked into its border like a promise kept. Yuma looked at it, then back at Kaede. The pudding tasted exactly like his childhood, like his mother's kitchen.
You're a better baker than I ever was. Yumi would be so proud.
They finished in comfortable silence, the clink of spoons the only sound against the quiet hum of the refrigerator. Outside, the street was dark and cold, but inside, the warmth was enough. They didn't need words. And the note that started it all remained on the wall, a quiet testament to a promise that had finally come full circle. At dusk, the bakery's lights glowed warm against the cooling street. The sign read Yume Mochi in gentle letters. Through the window, Yuma stood behind the counter, handing a paper bag to a customer with a familiar ease. On the display shelf, a row of purple pudding cups sat in their familiar place, the very same that had started everything. Above the register, the framed note hung quietly. "It's not for me, it's for you." The ink had yellowed, but the words never aged.
Every day I serve this pudding, I'm serving her. And I'm serving the boy who used to count the nights alone.
Kaede emerged from the kitchen, flour still on her cheek, and leaned against the counter beside him. She said nothing, just smiled. The last customer left, the bell chiming a final time. Yuma turned the sign to closed and locked the door. Outside, the street was quiet. The bakery's glow spilled onto the pavement, a soft lantern in the evening dark. A promise born from a silent pudding had become a life shared, and the taste of home never truly fades.